All right, Chase Elliott returns to the track this weekend after a one-race suspension and says, "Not everybody is perfect and mistakes are going to be made. You're going to have tough times, and I'm not proud of it by any means." TJ.
I'm guessing I'm spot on for, was it a week later?
2
Finally
weeks,
hearing about it. Yeah, so more than that, I guess. So, it's good to see. It's good to see Chase open up about it a little bit and talk about it. I honestly didn't think he was going to say anything. So, good to see something come from it, and looks like he's moved on.
I didn't see his comments. This is literally the only quote I've seen. I did see a tweet about it that he was very candid for 11 minutes and answered all the questions. To TJ's point, I do appreciate that. What I want to see now happen is these guys tell the truth in interviews and NASCAR not punish them. I don't think Denny Hamlin should be fined. I don't think, Chase Elliott, he got out of the car and acted like, well, once you hit the wall, you can't drive these things. Man, when you right rear somebody, you should literally be embarrassed. I don't care. After the fact, you should be like, man, I screwed up. I got mad, and I did something really stupid, and if NASCAR comes down on me, I get it.
Yeah.
I know why, because I am tired of being lied to, and it's not Ryan Priest's fault, but he lied to us.
It's
point
condescending,
blank. He lied to us. He lied to the fans. He lied to everybody, because in the past, if you do that, you get in trouble. So don't tell the truth, you get in trouble. Let these motherfuckers tell us the truth.
Yeah. I mean, it's insulting to your intelligence as a fan. Like, some people haven't been watching racing forever, but anybody that's watched Cup racing for the last 5 years or so knows that Ryan Preece was intentionally retaliating against Kyle Larson, and then he has to get out of the car and just act like an idiot. Like, what do you mean? I
think both of them did, because the other one retaliated the same way and then said his steering was broke, but ran 2 laps and drove it to the holler.
Yeah, it's just, but that's the point. Like, just let them let them be themselves, and the people will appreciate it, and you'll get to see a lot more personality out of these guys. Right now, there's guys we've talked to, like, hey, you want to come on the podcast? Nope. There's no telling what I could say on there and get me in trouble. Like, so you can't, like, that's a major issue when you're kind of putting a muzzle on. We're already people just begging for people to show more personality and see more of these drivers, and now they can't be themselves because of living in fear of what NASCAR might do to them if they're honest and tell the truth about what happened on the racetrack.
This is a good time to say this.
Okay.
There's a lot of times where, to Freddie's point, listen, I would love to have Chase Elliott on this podcast. I think there's no chance he'd come on here.
0% chance.
Carson's over there going, no.
No way. No
we
way.
talk shit about people who give us shit to talk about. Okay, that's a fact. This is a good point. Carson Hocevar. How much shit have we talked about Carson Hocevar?
I don't know about you, maybe.
Yeah, most of us.
Brett and the mouse in his
probably talked
pocket.
to but to that point, to what I told Noah back in the day, if you don't do dumb shit, we don't have anything to talk about.
But guess who came on the podcast? Noah.
Yeah.
Guess who else is coming on the podcast?
Yeah, I know.
Carson Hocevar is coming on this podcast during the month of July.
Are you actually going to be here?
100%.
What about that heckler in Charlotte? Is he coming too?
I'm 100%.
The guy you were going to fight in the crowd.
I'm excited that Carson's going to be
we talked
here.
about this last week with that interview he did. Like, that was the first step I've seen to Carson Hocevar maturing in a big way from everything in the past.
Pretty sure he went and tried to run the dream this last week.
He did. He was there. I don't know how he did. Carson
I have no clue.
Carson had Carson do. Yeah,
I
I have
actually
no clue.
think he was really close to making the race.
That's impressive.
Yeah, he actually had, from what I saw, I don't know, but it seems like he was just outside of the transfer spot.
My point is, we welcome all walks of life in here on this show. Mike Joy, we didn't have a problem with him. We had some
disagreements
about what he was saying versus what was happening, and who we thought he was talking about Noah, and he said he wasn't talking about Noah. We bring him on here. Obviously, he was on a Zoom, but like we want to have guests. We want guys to feel welcome on here and be able to come in here and say what they think. And listen, sometimes we say stuff that it's rare, but we say stuff that isn't right.
Mainly you.
Most of the time, it's all right.
Just depends who you ask.
Anyway, Carson.
Okay, Cup Series drivers dominated most of the debut NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Sonoma. Freddie, spot on, spot off?
Spot off. I felt like this was back in the early, late 2000s, early 2010s, where it's, the Cup guys were winning all the races, and I was actually having our buddy Dave DeRosa. I don't know if you remember him. He was the guy we met at Big Al's. He's a buddy of Noah's. He was asking me about, he had a group of friends with him, and he was talking about Cup guys not running the Xfinity races anymore. And I said, well, Like, you're going to see it today. Like, Kyle Larson's going to, unless something happens, which something happened, I said he's going to dominate this race. And then there's going to be other guys up there, whoever, Ty Gibbs, Eric obviously wins the race. You know, them guys, and I don't know what it looked like on TV, but I'm sure they had to highlight those guys because they were the only ones up front.
It was a 4-man show.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. And I don't know that I feel like going to a place where Cup has been running and Xfinity hasn't, you probably should not let the Cup guys run. You know, I have more of a problem with that than we go somewhere where Xfinity's been running, a Cup hasn't, and you don't let the Cup guys run.
They had a huge advantage there.
Yeah, I mean,
from the get-go.
Yeah, like you could see, it was like they were Larson.
Like your guy, first laps on the track, probably. Well, he might have run the truck race there last year.
He ran truck race there last year.
Yeah,
but
my guy had never been on the place. So.
Yeah.
Well, what Freddie's alluded to is you have guys that have run hundreds, if not thousands, of laps around Sonoma.
It's thousands.
Versus guys that have run zero.
Never even
So
seen
who
the
do you
place.
think's going to do better?
Yeah. So I don't know. Going forward, if that's an option to, like, let's not let these Cup guys come in and dominate, but it is what it is. They're within the parameters of the rules that they have now. But yeah, they for sure dominated right up until Larson. He kind of.
How about the lead he had in the beginning?
He was. I looked at the result. I wasn't there for practice on Friday, but when we landed, I looked, and his average lap time was almost 7/10 faster than the field average. He was he was 1.2 seconds faster.
Yeah, he was gone
on the fast lap, but his average was over a half a second faster than everybody. And I thought he was out there just kind of rolling around. AJ could kind of maintain pace with him, but I think Kyle was probably just saving his stuff at that point.
Yeah,
but it was.
I think AJ was definitely at his limit of he couldn't go any faster. And in the race, I mean, he just it was like 3/4 of a track in front of everybody.
Yeah. But that's why they run the races out, because you saw what happened. Suarez and the 29, which I think was Alex Lebay, they stay out. Lebay, I think, was out of tires, or they were trying to get a set mounted up, and they didn't get it in time, so they were out of tires. And then Suarez stayed out, just hoping probably for a later caution to put tires on and have an advantage. But I'm assuming that's how Larson lost control of the race, because he didn't get through that restart as well as them other guys.
Yeah,
and Eric
he
gets
got behind Eric, and he rode behind him for 5, 6, 7, 8 laps or whatever. Then, he had that incident in 11, which I mean, if there was 4 or 5 more laps, I don't know, it might have been. It's tough, man. Eric was doing a really good job leading.
He was once he got the lead. I mean, Larson was running AJ down, and then once he hit those tires, it was kind of over. But
that gave me hope for the race on Sunday playing out similar with somebody, with a tire strategy. You got to catch the caution.
Yeah, it was cool to see Eric win, because what did he have? Probably 3 or 4 Xfinity wins going into that race. Got a couple Cup wins. Won at Talladega, rain shortened. Won at New Hampshire.
Daytona
rain shortened. Yeah, I knew we were somewhere to play race. So cool for him to win with his kids there, man. I always like to see that. I will say this though, Jamie Little yesterday was kind of hyping up Ty Gibbs for the Sonoma race. Like, he may get his first win today, and I'm like, no, he ain't gonna get his first win today at a Cup track he's never been on in a Cup car, and he's racing animals today. He wasn't racing animals yesterday. So
yeah,
it's tough to go to some of these places, and I mean, I'll rattle them off. You ain't going to go to Martinsville in your first ever Cup start and win.
You're not going to Martinsville probably in any of your first starts and winning. That place is tough.
It's tough. Sonoma, you ain't going to go there in your first ever start in the series, not at the Cup level, and win. You ain't going to do it at Watkins Glen. Like, there's just certain tracks that are too hard that you have to have experience on to compete with these guys. And to your point, man, I'm now upset. I was upset with the lack of coverage throughout the field on Saturday, because I wanted to know how Chandler Smith was doing. I wanted to know how Josh Berry was doing, and they weren't getting any coverage.
Well, we were sitting on pit road.
I saw that. But to now hear you guys say why is frustrating, because there's no wonder those 4 guys kicked the shit out of the rest of them.
Yeah.
I will say this, though. Daniel Suarez yesterday, he made a screw-up, big screw-up.
Oof.
He was in second gear, and they said on the broadcast that he digressed to the day before and thought he was upshifting by going up from second to third gear, when in reality, with this new shifter in the Cup car, he went from second gear to first gear. Yeah, so when you guys saw him have a problem, that's what it was. The day before, he was shifting up from second to third, and the very next day, if you shift up, you downshift.
Yeah.
So mental screw up.
I saw it, there was the first lap, and it was off of 7, I think is what it was, because we were going by him through the S's. Like, he lost all of his track position and never got it back, really. He was back there with us the rest of the day. So yeah, that one issue can ruin your day.
And he got more track time, obviously, by running the race on Saturday. But you don't have that mental screw up if you don't run on Saturday.
No. And I mean, we saw it. Who was it last year? Denny. I think Denny was the one that blew his stuff up leaving pit road.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't related to run the Xfinity race, but he was leaving pit road and did the same thing, second to first or third to first or something. I don't remember.
I will say it's kind of funny. What was Eric's banner? Like, what team was he racing under this weekend?
That was Ryan Sieg Racing.
Yeah. I was told that there was a picture out there with the number 98 chassis. Literally on the car.
Yeah, of course.
Which is cool, man. I don't care either way.
No.
But.
And listen, that might be, I don't know what chassis numbers they are. I'm sure Sieg is buying cars from Stuart Haas. So, I mean, but I'm going to assume, like we saw last year with the 07.
I'm pretty sure that was a Stuart Haas car. You want to bet?
It's like that car that Priest won in on Friday in the ARCA race. Same thing.
Yeah.